Hello everybody and welcome back to SevTech Ages of the Sky. I'm SJM. This is episode 25, going over some of the upgrades and things that I'm working on super early here in Age 3. So as I mentioned before, I hooked up my liquid hopper into my trash void so that I don't have to worry about emptying the creosote out of here anymore. I've got my 4 stacks of wood, and I can always make more later if I want. It's not hard. You just throw coal in there and you get creosote. I did get the blast furnace made, and that was via the method that I was going to show you in the last episode. So I've got 9 blocks of steel already there. So just slowly working away on that. So I should have enough to start getting into the immersive here in the next little bit for the next episode. So a few of the updates that we got here now that we're in Age 3. We have a timer. So the timer can be used for a couple of things. You can put it on your smeltery, and this is the way I did my smeltery when I set it up. I was kind of alluding to this, where I have my timer here, and it's set on a 25 delay, which seems to work pretty good for doing ingots. And then it just kind of pulses every once in a while so that you're constantly filling up your basin as well. The other thing you could do is put levers on top of these and turn them on and off. That's just up to you which way you want to do it. But so if I wanted to do blocks instead of plates or ingots or whatever, then I would just move my piece of redstone over here, and then I would get that going on there. The other thing you can use your timer for is for setting up your stoked setup. And I didn't have to do it in this playthrough. I explained that in a couple of episodes ago because I got the Uncrafting Table. But what is it called? There's a block in here that you have to use. All right, we had to throw it on pause there while I looked through the 14 pages of Better with Mods. So the hibachi and the bellows. So you get the hibachi to make your flame, and then you need to have your bellows, and you need to turn it on and off. So there's a couple of different ways you can do that strictly within Better with Mods. That's a whole setup unto itself. But the other option is to use the timer to put your bellows so it turns on and off, so it's constantly like you get the puffs of air from it to turn your orange flame into a blue flame so that you can get the stoked version of the items that you want. It's all explained in the Better with Mods manual that you get when you get into Better with Mods, I think back in Age 1, so you'd have to read through that to figure out those setups. It's not too hard to figure it out unless you're trying to do the strictly within Better with Mods thing itself. If I was doing the regular method for getting the blast brick, I would put my filtered hopper on here. You want to make sure that it is hooked up to a power source with your filtered hopper when you're making the nether sludge. Or the hellfire dust, sorry, in your filtered hopper, because if you throw in 8 or more, it'll actually break your filtered hopper if you don't have it hooked up to the power. And yeah, that's where I was going to set that up there, but I don't need it anymore, so because I got this uncrafting table. Now we'll talk about the uncrafting table. I went to the nether and I got some of the nether brick here. Like I said, you throw the nether brick into the uncrafting table, and it gives you shows you what it'll give you. And there was a 4 here. I was totally confused at what that meant. And I started off at level 73, I think. And I just, I'm like, what do I do? I'm pushing all these buttons. I'm not seeing anything happen. And then I just kind of clicked on one there. And then, oh, okay, that's how I get my nether brick out. So I did that. And then I did 2 more after that. And then I looked down at my levels and I was down to level 61. So it actually takes levels to operate the uncrafting table, and that got super inefficient because I went down 12 levels just to get 12 bricks. And so the trick to do that there is getting this item here called the Tome of Perticia, I'm gonna say. Peritia, not sure exactly how you pronounce that. But this book you use to store your experience so that you don't waste your experience like that, because in the other, because I needed 36 total nether brick, and with the, like, I went down 12 levels getting my first 12. Getting the other 24, I went from level 61 to level 60. So literally used one of those high level levels to get all the other crafts because of how inefficient Minecraft level usage is. So this is definitely a highly recommended item if you're going to be using the uncrafting table, or if you just want to maximize your levels for doing vanilla enchanting. You can get it that way. It does require that you bump up your blood altar to tier 3 because you need the 3rd tier of the slate. So you put your reinforced slate on there. 5,000 life points later you get the imbued slate, and you need 2 of those to get your tome going. To get the 3rd tier you need to fill out the second, so the first row here gets you tier 2, then this row here gets you to tier 3, but you need to get these 2 solid blocks and then capped with either prismarine or glowstone. I didn't find anywhere near enough prismarine in the Twilight Forest to be able to get the 4 sea lanterns that I needed, so I just went to the nether there and collected up some glowstone. They're found near the bottom of the island, so having this flight here was super handy because I'd just go down, I'd find a bunch of glowstone down here somewhere and mine it out. So that creative flight came in super handy for getting that stuff there. The next handy thing that we're going to be looking at here is, of course, the Excavate modification. This gets you ore excavation on your tools. Just 1 I find is fine enough, although I imagine that you can put on tons and tons if you want on your tools. Here I've got, see, it's got out of 25, so each recipe of this does give you 25, so I guess you could bump it up to Excavate 2. I'm not sure how big, how much wider of an excavation that's going to give you if you do it up to the 2nd level. I've never been there. Be my guess, the recipe isn't that hard. The Modularium is a little bit of a pain in the butt, but to get out of age 3, you actually need about 4 stacks of it anyways, so you're going to get real used to making this stuff. And then the Octane and the Cimmerit, which you get out of the Between Lands there. Yeah, went over just to go over the blast brick again. Blaze powder you can get by throwing blaze rods, which I found in the Twilight Forest, so I actually didn't have to do too much blaze hunting in the nether. I did a little bit, but I didn't really need to because I did have a few blaze rods from the Twilight Forest. I don't know why I have a vanilla chest there. So Jerrycan, this is a super bucket. It has a couple of disadvantages in that you can't pick up liquids out of the world with it, so you'll definitely need another container to do, but that'll hold 10 buckets of liquid at a time, and it just takes 4 buckets and then a couple of iron plates in that formation to make. It's super handy for, I was using it to do all of my astral stuff there with the starlight, and now I've just got 10 buckets of lava there to refill my smeltery, because now that I have the Excavate modifier, I'm going to be going out and doing lots of bulk mining and bulk smelting. The next thing to look at here is the Buildcraft Tank. Just 8 glass shaped like a chest gets you the Buildcraft Tanks. These things are super awesome, and I'm going to be using those a lot, especially once we get into industrial with the oil processing. And the tank holds 16 buckets, I think. It might only be 12. Not 100% sure because it doesn't tell you right here. But yeah, it was just... And for now, I'm just using my seared tank so that I can actually take it over to my astral area to refill some of the things over there that I need. But the other handy thing, I guess, with the flight is that I can use the carry-on mod with it. So I don't actually have to use that, whereas if I didn't have the creative flight, I would need to have these breakable containers that retain their inventory. Yeah, I think that's it. I'm not using Wild Dog pelt boots anymore because the 2 pairs that I have are almost completely broken, and I only have 3 pelts left. So I'm kind of waiting until I see another wild dog somewhere, because I've had this area all lit up for so long. I haven't spawned a whole lot of the wild dogs in this playthrough, whereas in my regular Ages playthrough, I had like, I don't know, 3/4 of a stack about this point in the game. So I always had lots, and that was making wild dog pelt boots all the time, and just whenever they broke, and I just made another one. So it's almost time to start on a build. I just want to figure out if I have oil on my island, if it's going to be where it's going to be, because that's where I'll be setting up my pump jack. If I don't have any oil on my island, then I'll be just doing a nice big build, and I'm pretty solid on doing it out of marble, so looking forward to doing that in the next few episodes to get myself a nice little house there. Oh, hello, Mr. Bear. I don't need to kill any more bears, so not going to engage him. And yes, so in Age 4, pretty much haven't done too much there. Obviously, I got the blaze rod enchantment just by holding blaze rods. I made the ore excavation, found some of these ores. The platinum is the hardest one. Thankfully, my nature's compass found a rocky plateau within the 10,000 blocks, so I got kind of lucky on that one. And the one thing I got to go and find is my lead, so that I can make some of the high voltage stuff for immersive engineering. I definitely won't be doing any of the Steve cart stuff. I've never done Steve carts. It looks tedious and truly not that helpful, especially now that I have Excavate. I can just plant trees or excavate trees for wood. I've got so much food, I don't need it for food. And yeah, there's not, on these types of islands, there's not a whole lot of mining to be done either. So if somebody's got a good use for Steve's carts that I don't know about, I guess throw them in the comments down below. I'd appreciate that. And yeah, that is it for this episode. I will see you in the next one.